Welcome back, troops. Let's 10:59. Hope everybody's well. So, just doing a follow-up video to my previous video, where I was speaking about rioting. And if you've seen that video, I was prompted to talk about the riot training and riot experiences that I had and went through my time in the army. So obviously I was talking about the Northern Ireland riots, the Operation Banner, and my experience of that. So if you have a look at that one, this one might make more sense. So why I want to do a follow-up video was because quite a lot of comments came through on my last video. And I thought what I'd do is there's quite a few questions in the comments. I've answered a couple of them, but there was a few on there that I thought warranted maybe a face-to-face, if you like, answer to them. No names, no pacture. I'm not going to call out the people that asked me these questions, because half of the usernames I can't pronounce them. UXVZ79/5 or something, I don't know. Crazy names, so can't really quote who they are. And there's no need to. So, got a list in my pocket, and I'll be reading those out in a minute, and I'll try and answer those questions myself, as best I can. So, just before we get into that, just one thing so everyone knows. I think most of you know that have watched my channel. I don't do politics. Well, when I say that, I try not to do politics on the channel because I don't want it to be that kind of channel. There's plenty of channels out there. If you want people's political opinions on things, there's plenty of channels out there that are much more intelligent people out there that comment on politics. I'm not bright enough to talk about politics and what's going on. Of course, I've got my own opinions, but I'm not bright enough. There's plenty of other channels, like I say, so have a look at those. So please, if I come across in a political way, I don't mean to be like that. It comes out maybe now and again, but that's not what the channel's about. So, getting on to these comments. Quite a few good ones, actually, so let's have a look. I think I've picked out about 4, which seem to be the main contributing ones. So, got one here. It says, I've had this a couple of times actually. It says, if British troops, that is, British Armed Forces personnel, if they were deployed to the streets, how many would refuse to participate in riot control in mainland UK, England, Scotland, and Wales? Well, first of all, I don't think it'll ever come to that. I don't think we'll see, certainly not what's going on at the moment in the UK. The police will deal with it. It'll quieten down like all things. So I don't think they'd be deployed in the first place. If they were, let's hypothetically talk about that. Let's say for some strange reason, it got right out of hand and they did have to deploy British troops, British Armed Forces personnel to assist the police in public order in mainland UK. How many would refuse? Personally, certainly in my time, I don't think any of us would have refused. I think if we'd have been told you're going to go and support the police because there's a lot of rioting, they need a bit of help, I think we'd have all gone. We'd have done as we're told. That's what I believe back in my time. So I don't think anyone would refuse to do it. Today's armed forces, I don't know, I think they'd do it. I really do. I don't think there's any difference. I think if it did come to that, let's remember it's hypothetical now. If they did ask the police did ask for the armed forces assistance in the riot control, public order training, public order quelling, yeah, I think they'd go. But it ain't going to happen. It's not going to get that bad. I mean, if you think back to Northern Ireland and why the British Army were deployed in 1969, that was a whole different kettle of fish. Different thing altogether, way above what we're seeing now. All we're seeing now is handbags at dawn and people smashing up shops and nicking stuff. Someone went to Greg's the other day and nicking Greg's stuff. What's that all about? So, no, I don't think it'd ever happen. But if it did, then, yeah, I think the armed forces would just do as they're told and deploy. So that's that one. Next question in from the comments. Let's have a quick butchers. Okay, so someone says here, if you're caught rioting, that's in the current climate, if you're caught, do you think they should be given a choice of going to prison for rioting or joining the army? Bit of a crazy question, but no, I don't think they should be given the choice. No one should be given the choice. If you have broke the law during your rioting or whatever they're doing, they don't get a choice. They get whatever the law says they get, whatever the judge gives them, period. That's it. There's no, and to be honest, from what I've seen of some of these people that are smashing up shops now, you don't want them in the army. I wouldn't want people like that serving with me, so no. They'd be pressed men, wouldn't they, or women? You don't want that. So no, they shouldn't get a choice. Right, next question. Why is the hatred that's in these riots now, why is the hatred directed at the police? Well, of course, the police are the tip of the spear, aren't they, of the government in this particular case. It's the police officers, men and women, that are stood there trying to get public order. That's why I call it public order. They're trying to stop damage, protect lives, etc. So because they're on the front line, it's not the politicians lined up, it's the police force. And so rioters will direct their frustrations at the police. I don't think it's a personal thing, maybe. I mean, you don't know who these people are. It's like us when we was in Northern Ireland on the streets. They hated the Brits. They hated the British. They hated us being there. They didn't really hate us as individuals. They didn't go, oh, look, there's old Dave over there. Let's give him a good bricking. They just took it out on us because we were the tip of the spear, the face of the establishment, or whatever you want to call it. So, yes, the hatred is directed at the police force because those guys and girls are stood there trying to keep order. So it's not a personal thing. You mustn't take it personally. When you're in a firefight and someone's shooting at you and you realise that someone's trying to kill you, it's not personal, really. It's just you're the enemy in their eyes. They want to take you out. So the police, yes, they get all the hatred directed at them purely because they are the face of the establishment. They're the Johnny on the ground at the time. So they're going to get it. That's how it works. Right, last one then. So, was the army used in riots against the miners in the 1980s? Right. Now, let me tell you about this. So for those of you who don't know, or those of you outside the UK, in the early 80s, Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister, and she started to close down some of the coal mines, or a lot of the coal mines. And so this was a lot of livelihoods going out the window, all over the country, wherever there was coal mining communities. And the miners went on strike, and then they were picketing, they were bussing in miners from other areas to have these demonstrations, which obviously turned into riots, quite serious riots, let me tell you, not like we've got now. And there was a lot of rumours flying around that mixed in with the police on the baselines on these riots were British Armed Forces personnel, blue coveralls, no insignia on them, etc. And they were supporting the police covertly. I think it's a lot of rubbish. I think it's all rumours. Put me wrong. Show me tell me if I'm wrong. Because here's the thing. Why has none of those soldiers that participated then, if it did happen back in the 80s, why have none of them come forward? You know, talking, nearly 50 years ago, aren't we? Why haven't they come forward? Why haven't they come forward and said, yeah, I did it, and so did my mate Dave, and you could argue they've been sworn to secrecy, but how do you keep something like that secret? You get a whole battalion of lads and say you're going to join in with the police and do a riot. How are you going to keep them all quiet? And their wives, their girlfriends, the commanders, the police officer they stood next to. No, I strongly believe that the army weren't used. I think there's lots of rumours about it, lots of hearsay about it, a lot of conjecture, but I haven't seen a scrap of evidence. Now, to keep that secret for all that time, that's nearly impossible, surely. I really don't believe it happened. No, in my mind, tell me if I'm wrong. If you've got any evidence, let me know in the comments. I don't believe that British forces were used for riot control or public order alongside the police during the miners' strike in '84 when it was. I was in the army then. I was actually in Germany and Northern Ireland at the time, '84. I remember coming home on leave through Germany, drove home, and I got to the docks at Dover, got off the ferry there, and there was a lot of picketing going on. There's a lot of people in the dock area with placards, etc., demonstrating, not rioting, and there was a big police presence. But no, in my mind, I don't think the British Army were used, or the British forces were used to support the police during the miners' strike. Anyway, hope that's answered a few questions, given my take on it. So I'm not political. My first video is just having seen what was on the news, prompted me to talk about riot training that British soldiers went through in my time for Northern Ireland Operation Banner, the training and the riots. So that's it. The next video, guys and girls, will be me and a trace around making our big announcement. It'll be the next couple of days for our tab challenge, which is going to be 80 miles in 8 days. 80 miles in 8 days, 10 mile a day, weighted walk challenge. We'll reveal all what we're doing, where we're doing it, who we're doing it for in our challenge reveal video, if you like. So keep an eye out for that. Until then, and it won't be long, stay safe. Don't go smashing Greg's up. All right? You know you are. Nobby, behave yourself. Stay safe, everybody. Remember, let's tab.